Yesterday we could not succeed, but now we want to move that side. The lion is started. We need to go to put some collars on lions.
Moving on to the Ugab experience that we had down there, with the tracking and identifying the area that he could possibly in, and then all his movement as well. How did that go about for us?
Yeah, look, the Ugab was a very interesting period, and we did some really nice work there, and a lot of sort of unexpected events. So when we moved down from the Ugab River, we went in separate, took separate routes, and you picked up the track of a male. I think on the first day that you went down. That's right. So on the same day, I picked up a male track, which we didn't know it was the same lion. So I was on this male track, and the area that the male was moving was new to me. So there was a possibility of two males, but most likely the one particular that I was really looking for. So in the end, you'd follow the track of lions to a reed bed, and you were quite sure that he was in there. So when by the time I arrived, I was also on the lion track. I met your tracks, and then I realized, okay, this is the same lion, so I could then leapfrog over and through and met up with you. And we went in, and then we then realized that this was a collared lion. So it was a male, a young male from the Ugab pride. Now where we picked up his tracks first was way out of the range of the Ugab, and that already was a big surprise. Then in terms of his movement, I'll get to that just now. So it essentially moved into the reed bank. We still had remains of the springbok carcass from the previous event with us, so we used that to basically set up the bait again on the western side downwind. And whilst you were watching the lion, I was out of view. I was around the corner. We had to make sure we had to pull him out of the reed bank to be able to immobilize him. And the whole idea was that the Ugab male, was being a young male, was now basically coming into his own as an adult. And it was really necessary for us to fit a satellite collar on him. When males reach that age, over 4, when they're sexually mature, they really start moving, and that's important for us to be able to know that, at regular intervals. Hence the need for a satellite collar. All right, so the scene was set, and it was going to be quite easy, we thought. And that just shows you, as soon as you think you've got the lion in a bag, the cat escapes. It turns into a difficult situation, and that's happened to us many times. Right, so on that day, we again repeated the sound playback, but the lion did not respond. And we tried something else, and again his response was not what we expected. And then only a little bit later we realized that during the day, in the time just before we arrived, he killed a large animal, either a gemsbok or a zebra. But he killed it in the reeds, in the water. So he had a fresh kill, and he was not going to leave that to come to, the stress call of some other, potential food. But again, we didn't really know that until we were able to look at the video material that you took of the lion, and we saw that there was blood, you know, on his face. So that explained the situation. I still sat at the bait carcass the whole night, hoping that he would come. He did not. So early the next morning, I went out and then found him lying in the open, and then really just took a chance shot at a distance way beyond what the dart is normally meant for. And I was lucky that you know, the dart did hit him, but then he ran up a ridge and went to sleep right on top of this ridge, which was now a bit risky because we had to walk up there, and that went all quite well. And then it was very important for us to get him into shade, because we couldn't allow that he would be exposed to the sun. And what was quite remarkable is there was an old a hut, like a shelter, people that lived there many years ago, probably hunter-gatherers. So we actually put him in the shade of an old settlement house, and he basically woke up there. And I think we got some very nice material of him actually walking into the hut and then exploring a bit there. Somebody made a joke of the owner of that house would be turning around in his grave if he knew that. But yeah, so the lion did recover quite well from the darting. Again, which was quite stressful for us, because we'd never dart in the daytime. Daytime is always risky with heat and additional sort of disturbance to the lion. But I think everybody was really quite happy with the way he did recover, and that the darting actually went very well. Now, the results of that whole exercise was quite significant, because the collar that he had on is a GPS collar, so it had logged his movements, and I was able to extract that information from the collar. And that opened up a whole new development. And it was quite clear that the Ugab male had already started moving away from his natal pride and had started exploring different areas. He had just come from the coast. He had just been at the Ugab mouth, at the lagoon, but he'd also gone all the way up to the Ugab River. And then basically came down, and that's where I picked up his tracks. And then later on, you picked up his tracks in the Ugab. It indicated to us that he is probably spending time with a Ugab pride, who we have lost touch with. The satellite collar on one of the lionesses had died, and we had not seen them for several months. So I will now use him to help me find the Ugab lions. Which was quite amazing is that after he recovered from the darting, I just basically was able to download his movements from his satellite collar. He rejoined the Ugab lions, and they moved up almost to the top of the Brandberg. Yeah, I think they were, the elevation of the position they were lying at now, and they must have made a kill there, probably a zebra maybe, is way over 5,000 feet. Yeah, it was quite incredible. So one would need a helicopter to go and view them up there. It's quite close to like a Bushman painting that's marked on the map. So they've moved up there. But he won't stay with them for too long, I would imagine, and then he'll start wandering again. And with the satellite collar, we will follow him closely, and he will hopefully lead me to the Ugab pride, so that we can, reactivate them, fit a new collar to them, and continue monitoring their movements.